luxury of self-destruction to be self-aware. Wow, my malfunctions into this reverse. Smile, I walk to get a drink from the machine. Wow, my malfunctions. Ah, the luxury of self-destruction to be self-aware.
Hi, my name is Martina Gahan and I'm a global brand artist for 11 Australia. And today we're going to take you through today's class. Today is all about shape and flow when it comes to beautiful curly hair. Jill is my beautiful model for today and has delighted to be my model when it comes to a haircut. We're going to move you through the cutting whole way through the class. It's going to be more about the move of the hair, how it sits, and how it's going to grow out naturally within the hair. So it's how it moves once we've cut it, how it sits, and how it'll eventually be able to grow naturally. When you're working with curl behavior, it is important that you don't fight with the curl. You try to leave the curl go in its natural form. Every decision we make while cutting is based on the curl pattern, the shrinkage of the hair, the density, which is inside the hair here. You can see there's quite a lot of density within the hair here. And then we're going to talk about how her hair lives day to day. It is very important that when you're cutting any curly hair, that you find out what way they style their hair day to day. When you are doing a curly cut and they blow dry it straight, you can nearly see sometimes different textures throughout the hair. So it's very important that when you do a curly cut that you ask, what is your day-to-day style? What we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you how to identify strong versus soft curl zone. So if we look at here now and we take our head to the side, you can see there's quite a strong curl here, more like a soft curl underneath. So you can see there's a lot of different curl patterns throughout Jill's hair. We're going to see the density. So it looks like it's heavy density underneath the hair here. But when I actually feel Jill's hair, it's more like a coarse texture, making the hair feel bigger rather than actually looking bigger. What we're going to look at then is how flat or collapsing sections can change how you cut the hair as well. When I look at Jill's hair here, you could even see the curl pattern underneath. There's actually some straight bits here as well. Okay. Then we're going to move on to sections. When I'm sectioning the hair, when it comes to curly hair, you need minimal tension. You don't want to be really lifting that hair, pulling that hair away from its natural bend. What you want to do is work in its natural fall. And that way then you're going to preserve the curl and you're actually going to avoid breakage. When it comes to curly hair, it's quite sensitive. So the more I comb, the more I brush, the more of a frizz I'm going to create throughout the hair. When I show you how I'm going to cut the hair, I'm going to show you, when I show you the elevation in the hair. So literally, when you think of high is where we literally lift the hair straight up from the head and cut the hair. We tend to do this sparingly. We only tend to do this if we want more volume on the top of the hair. Medium is when I move the hair and I bring it out more to the side. When I cut the hair on a medium length, medium level here, what's happening is you're going to create more movement, more softness throughout the hair. And then you have low. Low is where we're going to finish today, and this is where we're going to keep the hair sparingly. We're only going to take off those little bits that need to come off. Weight removal then is where we actually remove weight so curls can bounce. So if you think of curly hair and how it works, you can imagine if I had my hair all one length and I cut it straight, there's no room inside there for my curl pattern to move. My curl pattern doesn't move. There's no way for this curl to move and show its natural fall. When it comes to layering the hair, you want to encourage the spring. You want to support any shrinkage, and you also want to stop that triangle shape. So if we look at Jill's hair here now, what tends to happen with every curly hair, it literally looks great for like a couple of months, and then all of a sudden you can see that triangle shape starts to take place again in the hair. What we're going to do for Jill today is we're going to create more of a round, more of a softness throughout her curl. We're going to encourage her curl at the front, really kind of show off her beautiful texture of curl throughout the front of the hair. It's so springy, it's gorgeous. And then underneath, you can see where it's actually falling more kind of flatter throughout the hair. The curl pattern underneath is actually more softer compared to the spring. So what we want to do is we want to enhance the spring on top, not to take too much length from the ends, because I can see if I took too much, it's going to literally bounce up, and I don't think Jill would like that. So we're going to be adapting for different curl types. So looser curls means less layering. Tighter curls means we need to respect the shrinkage. So if you can imagine, this is Jill's hair here. If I cut that, she's like, no, if I cut that way too far up, what's going to happen? The shrinkage is going to go right up into her head. So we really need to respect that when we're actually doing the cut today. So high density, we turn your head here, that's your thicket area. The strategy that we want to do here is weight removal. Even though the strategy of it, we want weight removal, if I actually look and feel her hair, it is a high density, but I know if I take too much out of here, it's going to make the hair look very wispy on the ends. When curly hair looks wispy on the ends, basically what happens is it just goes frizzy, just fly away. There's nothing around the hair to protect it, okay? Low density is where we want to literally take lesser hair. So even if I look at her pattern on the outside here, you can see this curl wants to go up, it wants to live, it wants to go freely. But what's happening is, see these little bits here? This is what I would call low density. And this is where this needs to kind of come off to make the hair stronger, to really kind of elevate that curl up as well, okay? My motto is, if the curl can move freely, it will always sit naturally. So that's the aim for today. So now I'm going to take you through the 11 steps of how I cut Jill's beautiful hair. So the first shampoo I'm going to use is the Deep Clean Clarifying Shampoo. The reason I'm using this is because it has orange oil, and that's going to help me to cleanse her hair before I shampoo it with the curl shampoo. This smells beautiful. So this is a clarifying shampoo, but it's not going to strip her natural oils, her natural protein from the hair. The citrus oil in this is what's actually going to help to lift any product buildup or any residue in the hair before I cut it today. This is really good for curly hair. It's definitely something that I use literally every time before I wash my hair. I find with curly hair, we tend to we get carried away sometimes with product, but I also think as well with the environment, going outside, there's definitely a lot of stuff built up into the hair. 2 seconds, I'm just going to see something there. Smells beautiful.
Yeah, it smells so nice.
The second shampoo I'm going to use today is the Keep My Curl Moisture Shampoo. This is a beautiful product. It's got hyaluronic acid, it's got ceramide and niacinamide, and that is designed to lock the moisture into Jill's hair. So we're going to use this for our second wash today. New bottle. When I was looking at Jill's hair earlier, I did definitely think she needed some moisture locked into the hair. So by using the curl range, this is going to help to repair any damage, any frizz, any dryness around that crown area, and really lock in that moisture for her using these amazing ingredients within the product. Final step is the Keep My Curl Moisture Conditioner. This has the beautiful coconut oil in it, and this is going to help to lock in all that moisture for Jill today. With this product, I say a little goes a long way, but I think for Jill today, I'm going to use 3 pumps. So I like to work this in through the hair, literally from root to tip. Normally, I tend to comb it through, leave it for 2 to 3 minutes, just to work right into the hair. Now that we have completed step 1, which is the prep, we're now going to show you step 2. This product that I'm going to show you next, I actually use it as my cutting tool. I think it's absolutely amazing, especially when you're cutting curly hair, because it keeps the hair in place. It helps to control the frizz while you're cutting. And that's the Miracle Leave-In treatment. It does have 11 benefits, but for me, the main thing for when I'm using this is for cutting, is for any flyaways or any frizz that might be caused as I am combing and brushing out the hair. 3 or 4 pumps into the hand, work it through the hair. It's going to help to detangle as well. So now I'm going to show you the section pattern that I have chosen for Jill's hair today. So for me, I wanted to keep as much length as possible because I found the weight of her hair underneath dragged down. If I was to cut that too much, what's going to end up happening is she should bounce way too much. She'll kill me. And I think as well for her, it's nice to keep some of the length in the hair. What I'm going to do is I'd like to put some fringe around her face just to kind of emphasize her cheekbones, really kind of show off her cheekbones as well. So we're going to put like a slight little teasy fringe into her hair as well today. I'm going to disconnect it then with a triangle shape going into more of a diamond shape on the crown area. That's going to get rid of any weight that we want here, but also really kind of emphasize that bounce, really kind of give Jill her life and soul party there. So first of all, I'm going to disconnect the fringe. It's very important as well that when you're doing any cutting with curly hair, that you always try and use as much as possible like a wide tooth comb. Just because the less friction you put into the hair, the less breakage you're going to get into the hair as well. Oh, it smells so good. Can you smell it?
Yeah, it smells so nice.
Smells so good. So now I'm going to section for her. So I always try and look at someone's fringe and see what best way to settle it. So I normally like to put a comb, balance it on the top of her head. So if you turn your head there, Jill, you can see where it starts to stop, where you can see that gap. Turn your head around. That is where I would start my fringe from. It's just a little tip for you, but it makes life easier because sometimes when I look, I'm like, how far back should I go? And then disconnect that. You can really see you've got such a strong bounce in the front of your hair, such a strong pattern. Okay, so that's one section. You can see there's quite a bit of hair. You can imagine when that bounces up, it's really going to show off Jill's beautiful curl at the front. And that's what we want to see today. We really want to emphasize, really want that curl to be able to grow out naturally, but also be able to move. That is your first section. Then I'm going to actually move to the top of her head. So it's quite low down her fringe, but I still want to disconnect the front. So what I'm going to do is if you go to the top, I'm going to literally go from top of her head right down to be literally behind the ear. Okay, so I want to nearly disconnect the front part of her hair. So I'm going from behind the ear up to the top of the head. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side. By me doing this, by me disconnecting all the sections that I'm doing, it's given me a good idea of when I looked at her hair first, what way the hair was sitting. It's given me a good idea of how much hair I want to take off on certain areas of her hair. Like my main focus for Jill's hair today is the crown and the fringe, because I really want to kind of give her more body. The end part is where I'm literally just going to take off any kind of bits that need to come off without taking too much length. Once I've done the sectioning for the front, I'm then going to move on to my diamond shape at the top. So I go from here, which is the connection point here, all the way down. You could kind of really go with the flow of the head. Like you don't want to go too far down either, because remember, this is weight that we're taking off of Jill's hair today. So even though we still want to see that hair bounce, we don't want it to go flat at the side. We still want to see that round shape. Once you're comfortable with the diamond shape that you have created, well, then you want to clip this out of the way. What I would always say, every curly hair is completely different. Every curly head, like every curly hair, I don't think there's one curl pattern in my own hair. I think there's 3 or 4 different patterns throughout. But what you find is when you cut, you still need structure. You still need to have a baseline to work from even though when you cut curly hair, a lot of it is visual, you still need to have a structure. You still need to be able to start at the bottom and work your way up. If I just went in and started cutting your hair, first of all, Jill would probably have a heart attack. Yeah. But it's like you need to be able to still control the hair. Okay? There needs to be structure. If a curl has structure to sit on, it'll actually be easier for that curl pattern to go out as well. So once I've done my diamond shape, in the end, I have 1, 2, 3. Behind the ear then, I'm just going to disconnect that. 4. Other side. 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your crown area. Put your head down, Jill, there for a second. So you can see going diamond shape here. This is my back section here. The side. I have the front where I want this to fall below the nose. I have the sides where I still need to take some bits off the ends here. And this is where I want to try and keep as much density throughout the hair. Because even though when Jill came in earlier, like it felt like a lot of hair in there. But if you actually, I think with curly hair, once you wash it, it looks like we've nothing left. Yeah, definitely. So I think we definitely need room for that curl to go. So again, that was step 2. Our section is done. Now I'm going to move on to step 3. So step 3 is where I want to separate the fringe. Okay, I've got to separate the fringe. I've created my diamond shape. I've separated the sides and I've separated the back. Now it's safe for me to go and cut her hair. So when I say I want to separate the fringe, I'm still looking at her hair and how it falls naturally, okay? So if I look at Jill's hair here, I can see straight away her hair has a tendency to literally split here, okay? That's very important to know, because if I go too scissor happy with here, this is her bend. This bend will literally go up here. And straight away, I've created too much of a shortness in the front of her hair. Because now I can see that dent is quite strong in the front of her hair, this is where I'm going to start my cut. Okay? So when I'm cutting her hair, I'm cutting it straight out. Yeah? So remember we said before, high, I'm taking a lot of hair. Medium, I'm giving it softness and movement. Lesser is below. So this is where we're literally going to take less hair. The lesser hair I take when it's down here, the more of a stronger base I have. Softness and movement, and then I'm taking a lot off that way. Okay? So we're going to work first by working out from the head. I'm going to take it straight out. I'm going to measure it off of her nose. I always think when you're cutting hair, it's good to have a visual of where you need to measure that from. Okay? So I think for now, I'm going to take it out to here. Okay? When that bounces up, even though now the hair is still wet, there's still going to be movement within her hair. Okay? There's still going to be, you'll be able to see. Yeah. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join the rest of that in. But you can see even those bits that need to be cut off, it needs a bit of loving there on the side. I always know, and I always say, curly hair needs to be cut when it starts looking straight. Literally starts looking straight. What you find is like, Jill, I don't know you're the same, but I find like when my hair starts getting a bit like straggly and like little bits start breaking off, I'm like, okay, it needs some love. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So once that's done, so you can see there, even though it's starting to shrink, the hair is still wet. And this is why it's so important that little goes a very long way. So even when you're cutting curly hair and you think, oh, but it's a fringe, it needs to go a bit that shorter, stop. Stop and always look and leave it dry that bit natural first. Because I know once I dry Jill's hair, it's going up to here. Yeah? Can you see that straight away? It's going to go straight up to here. Okay? So once you have done that, so that's just step 4. We've used the scissors. We've cut the fringe to the desired length. And again, when you're cutting the fringe, always use the wider part of your comb. You want less tension. You don't want to be really pulling or dragging at the hair, because all you're going to do is create frizz. And then what's going to happen is you're going to create breakage. Okay? Now I want to blend in the sides of Jill's hair. So I'm going to take out the other section here, which is the furthest front section. Every time I take out a section, I like to move the hair. Yeah? I like to, oh, it looks so good. I like to move the hair just to put it back into its natural fall. And I can see straight away here, it's just gone a bit, as you can see here, it just needs that little trim. So I don't want to take too much off that front area. So how I look at this and how I measure this, again, I'll just take it to the side just so you can see. If you see Jill's natural fall here, it's beautiful. Wide tooth part of my comb, I'm actually going to bring this forward, all the way forward. Okay, not too much tension. And I can see straight away where I want to cut this, okay? So if I bring her hair forward, you can nearly see those little flyaways. If I measure it down, it's just below the chin, okay? So always have a guide to where you want to cut the hair. It's very important that you do that, otherwise you can just get lost. And especially with curly hair, you're not really pulling at the hair. You can see my fingers are quite loose when I'm cutting Jill's hair, but when I move that down, this is where I want to come off. Yeah, because now I have the guide of using the chin, when I go to the opposite side, it's so much easier for me to follow the flow of the haircut, okay? Because what you find, even though her hair is curly, it's only when I actually dry it that I will see the balance of the haircut. When I dry it, it might still need little bits taken off it, but I'd rather wait to see the natural fall, to see it dry before I do that. You're then going to repeat this on the other side. Again, anytime you take off a clip, you really want to put her hair back, give it a bit of life, put it back into her natural fall. It's beautiful hair. Again, I went from the guideline of under her chin, so we're going to do the same now this time. You can see even when I'm combing the hair, I'm not pulling or dragging that hair. I'm really using the wide tooth part of my comb to pull it through, use her chin as a guideline, pull it straight out, and those are the bits that need to come off. Always when you have a guideline, always when you have a place for the hair to fall, it is so much easier to follow that cut. You can see straight away from those little bits coming off, the difference that it has made to Jill's hair. Yeah? It's just giving it, it's like curly hair is amazing, but if it's too light, there's not enough density on the ends, it just looks frizzy and there's no structure for that curl to fall. Okay? Once we have done that, I'm now going to leave the two sections at the other side and I'm now going to work on my diamond section at the top. Okay? So you can see already her hair is starting to dry and the bounce is coming back up in it. We want to create more of a definition in Jill's curls today. So this is my diamond section. I'm going to turn you around at the top. You can see here where it starts, down to the point. So when you think of this, this is your point of your ear, straight down. Yeah, so that's where your point's going to stop. What I tell people normally to do with this is you split it in half. Okay, that way then it's actually easier for you to work on visually. Clip the other side out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work from our middle section outwards. Now with Jill's hair, I'm going to show it to you in two parts, okay? We're kind of nearly disconnecting from the front. So if I lift her hair all the way up, and then I lift this back area all the way up, there's not much in a difference in it. But we want to keep the length at the front. I want volume at the top. So this is now where I'm going to disconnect the curls. Okay, I'm going to literally lift it straight up from where her hair goes, using the wide tooth part of my comb, and I'm going to take a good bit off there. She can't see in the mirror, so she can't say anything. I'm then going to follow this. So I'm not going to go straight up. I'm actually going to follow her hair around. While I do this, what's happening with the hair is I'm now creating a round shape on the crown area. So you can imagine I've gone straight up, and then on my next section, I've gone around. So what ends up happening is this cut now will flow all around, yeah? And it will give her a beautiful round shape at top, because if it's too disconnected, what ends up happening is you have like a long layer and then a short layer, and you can really, really see that in curly hair. So we still want to keep it nice and soft. We're going to work our way through one end. Each time I'm working, if you think of an orange, the segments of an orange, we're still working around. So we're still connecting in the middle, okay? So you can see now, as I move around, there's actually less hair coming off the sides. The best way to do this is to do it in 2 parts. Your top, your back. That way then you won't get lost in your sectioning and keep the sections clean as you're doing it. Because I'm moving like a segment and because I'm moving into each part of the hair, the more I go out of the hair, the less hair I'm taking. So you can see now, less hair. So what you've done now is you've created that round, beautiful shape on the top of Jill's hair in a diamond section. Move this out of your way, and then you're going to literally repeat on the other side, okay? Again, you're using your middle section as your guide, so you don't get lost, okay? You're going to work in 2 parts. 1, wide tooth part of your comb. You're going straight up, working into the middle section, and you're taking that length. You're going to follow the hair around using your guide, straight out, taking that weight. Again, you're creating that lovely round on the crown area. And the reason I always do like a diamond section with the weight, because even though I want to take a lot of hair from that crown area, I still want to keep the density around the sides still thick enough for the hair to fall on top. If there's not enough weight on the sides, what will end up happening is it'll just drag here and it won't land properly on top. There's no structure for it to sit on. Again, follow that hairline around into the middle, take those little bits off. So you can see each time you do it, there's less and less hair coming off. It's actually a beautiful cut to do. As I said, every curly head is completely different. Every curl pattern is completely different. So it depends on what your client needs, on what your client is looking for. Okay, so once you've done that diamond section, working from side to side, that was your step 6. We're now going to move on. So you can see even now, when I pull her hair up, there's a lot of density still here in the head. I've created a round shape, but now I'm just going to show you a little tip on how to twist and cut to get rid of some of the density on the ends. Because even though your hair is curly and I've cut it in a straight line nearly around, it's too dense on the end. So now we need to kind of nearly feather that out. The best way to do this is twist and cut. This is, Jill can see this now, she's probably going to have a heart attack. So you literally twist the hair straight up off the head. You get the middle part, like literally the inside of your scissors. You do not close. And you literally, at the edge, you just snip, 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 snip. I'm not taking a lot of hair off here, but what I am doing is I'm creating movement, okay? You can see her hair is still in the same place, but what I've done now is I've created movement within that hair, okay? Follow this through to the whole diamond section that you have created. Again, I'm going to show you. So it's literally twisting from the root, pulling it and twisting it straight up. Middle part of your scissors, so the inside of your scissors, you do not close, because if you close, no hair. And you're literally slightly tipping that hair, okay? So what you're doing is, even though we've taken length from Jill's hair, we still want to create movement within that crown area. Crown area is, in curly hair, is literally the first place to fall and just go flat. And any curly girl that likes volume, it's like that's the one place where you kind of tend to lose it. The reason that happens is because the hair has been cut too straight. There's nowhere for the curl pattern to go, and it just falls flat. So by us doing this middle part, literally, you're not even closing. You can see I'm barely moving the scissors. You're creating a curl within a curl within a curl. So you're creating movement throughout that. You can feel the weight coming off your head. It's a nice technique to do. Wouldn't recommend that you do the whole head with this, but it's definitely a lovely technique to create softness and movement around that crown area. And you just want to keep that bounce, you want to keep that flow with the hair. And again, same thing again. I'm barely, like it's literally a little nip. I'm not even closing that scissors, okay? You can see the hair coming off, but the length and the structure is still there in the hair. That's what you want, okay? If you cut hair, especially curly hair, even though it looks like, oh my God, there's loads of hair, if you cut too much off that hair, it's going to take 5 years for that hair to grow back, and the client sitting there is not going to love you. But it happens, okay? So that was step 7. And now we're going to move on to step 8. So you can see what I'm trying to do to the hair here, yeah? You can see I'm creating movement around the hair. Now I'm going to unclip this section here. So this is the section just above the ears. We're going to unclip this. We still have the back section to show you. But if you look at this section here, you can see now her curl is starting to really move and bounce as it's drying into the hair. I'm now going to release this section and I want to show you where it falls. See how the curl pattern underneath compared to on top. So this is still quite heavy. Even though like we've taken nothing off here yet, I can even see this top section here is still going to be quite heavy on her hair. And that's where I'm saying with the different curl pattern, it can be really, really springy or it can be loose. This is where you can see where the hair is quite loose. So what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to move it out. And this is your medium. So this is your movement and your flow, okay? So this is where you're going to pull right out from the head. You can see it. You can literally see where it needs, it's like see-through. This needs to come off. So we're going to take this off. By me moving it out, and you can see I'm not pulling on that hair. It's quite a loose. Again, straight away, you can see it's starting to bounce up. And like just that little bit of hair can do such an amazing thing to the head. Same on this side here. This again is when I say a loose curl. Again, you can see where it's quite loose on the hair. I'm going to pull it out. Again, very, very gently using the wide tooth part of my comb. Pull it straight out. And I can see straight away is these little bits here that need to come off. It's surprising, like you think, oh, it's only a little bit of hair. But that little bit of hair can weigh curls down. Like it's very easy for curls to get weighed down. I always say as well to clients, like if you've got a curly haircut, it needs 2 weeks for your hair to settle. Definitely needs 2 weeks for your hair to settle. Because it's been pulled, it's been dragged, it's been moved all over the place. And curly hair does not like to be moved. So I always say to clients, when you've got a curly cut, you do need to leave at least 2 weeks for that hair to settle, to find its pattern again in the hair. Yeah, but you can see there, Jill, it's gorgeous. Yeah. It's starting to really kind of bounce up. So the back section is literally just practically like a ponytail in the back of her head here, yeah? But the one thing I can see from Jill's hair is it's falling flat. Okay, so it's literally falling flat on the head. I'm going to bring you around this side so you can see a bit more. It's just, there's no movement here on that area here. Even though we've done the triangle section here, I now want to kind of create just a little bit of movement underneath. The best way to kind of do that is keep your crown area sectioned up. Just going to move you around there again. I'm going to work from the middle. Okay, I'm not taking length as such. I'm going to take all that hair back. Again, we're moving from the medium. Okay, we're creating movement, we're creating flow within the hair. If I was to go straight down, it's just going to stay flat. Yeah, it's going to look thicker, but it's going to stay flat. If I go too high up, I'm taking a big chunk of that weight out of our hair. So for me, going medium, which is straight out, this is where I want to create the softness and the flow in her hair. All I'm doing here is literally taking this little corner off. So I'm not taking the length of her hair. I'm taking just that little corner off, and straight away I can see the middle part of her hair. See? Bounced back up. I would literally follow this around, but continue to bring it back into that middle section here. You can see lesser hair is coming off, what I always call, when I cut medium, which is straight out, that to me is literally flow. You're going to create flow within the hair, okay? Softness and flow. You can even see there's hardly nothing coming off. But what I'm doing is I'm creating softness, I'm creating flow, I'm creating movement. And that's what this whole haircut needs to be about. It needs to be about movement. It needs to be where our hair, when it goes back, it's going to grow back in its natural fall. It's not being forced back into a haircut. And you'll find that sometimes when you do get a curly cut, if it's not growing right after 2 weeks, you know there's too much weight, or there's not enough density being cut off, or there's not enough of that flow throughout the hair. That was step 8. Jeez, what a fly. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to comb through. So when I comb down her hair here, there's a bit of a disconnect here. So I'm literally going to softly bring this around using the wide tooth part of my comb. Bring it all the way around, and you can see all I'm doing is taking off just those little bits here to create that softness around Jill's hair. And the same repeated on the other side. Step 10 is very important. So as you can imagine, I've just cut Jill's hair, and all I've been doing is combing and combing and touching and combing and touching. What happens with curly hair is the more you comb, the more you touch, the more her hair gets frizzy. So if I was to put product straight onto Jill's hair now, what would happen is it would just look frizzy. It's not going to define that curl. Pro tip, top tip, something that I would highly recommend, is you actually resaturate the hair before you apply the product. When you apply the product, you really want to hear that squeak. Yeah, you want to hear that squeak. So what we're going to do is we're going to resaturate the hair, which is very important. I'm not using a comb to do this. I'm using my fingers, okay? Because the hair is being pulled, it's being dragged. You really want it to kind of go back into its natural flow where it sits, yeah? So really resaturate that hair. But you can see I'm completely wetting your hair down again. And this is a very, very important tip, because if you don't, and as I said, if you put the product straight on, you're just going to create frizz, yeah? Because I've been moving that hair all over the place. Now I'm going to release the crown area. And I'm just going to show you, even before I saturate. Look at that body, straight away. You've created that body. You've got height. You've got everything in there, yeah? Even when I'm moving around straight on, and this is it wet, you can see it's really starting to take shape. I'm going to resaturate that crown area again. Really try and soak that water into the hair. So once you've resaturated the hair, we're now going to go on to the final step, and that is product placement. Product placement is very important when you're doing curly hair. So the first thing I'm going to use, so I've used my Miracle leave-in as my cutting tool. Very important. I always use that as a cutting tool because it helps to keep the hair intact as I'm cutting it, and it actually helps as well with frizz. The next thing I'm going to apply to the hair is the elixir. Okay, the elixir is absolutely stunning when it comes to curly hair. I've been using it a lot. With the elixir, it's a treatment. So it's a treatment oil. What this does is it's going to protect the hair up to 230 degrees, which is very, very high. And it's an amazing product to be able to do that. And then it's got argan oil and marilla oil. And what that does, it actually helps to prevent frizz. But at the same time, it's going to create softness and shine. Like the shine from this is unbelievable. Jill's hair is very thirsty. So what I recommend is we do it in 2 sections, okay? The first section, what we're going to do is I'm just going to clip it out of the way. Like you can really see, there's water everywhere, but you can really see how important it is to kind of really saturate that hair again. I'm going to use 2 pumps. And I'm going to work that into the ends of Jill's hair and the mid and the root area. The reason why I'm putting the product into 2 sections is because I really want to use the product without, I don't want the product just to sit on top of the hair. I really want to soak that into the hair, really put it into the parts that it's needed. Because Jill's hair underneath is more of a softer curl, yeah? More less bounce, yeah, but we still want to keep that movement. We still want to keep that throughout the hair. Once I've done underneath, I'm then going to move on to the rest of the hair. Again, for this, I'm going to use 2 pumps as well. This is beautiful. It's literally a treatment, especially for curly hair. Oh my God, it's stunning. Again, you can see I'm really focusing on scrunching that into the hair. I'm not at the stage now where I'm dragging product through the hair. I'm actually at the stage where I'm scrunching into the hair, okay? The hair should be totally saturated for this as well. I'm trying not to move or pull or take it away from its natural fall now. This is where I really want it to go into its own. You can really see the fullness now on the sides. It's stunning. You really want to move that through the hair. Okay. Once I've done that, I'm now going to move on to my next product, and that's the amazing curl cream that we have. This curl cream is beautiful because it's got an anti-humectant. So it's like an anti-humidity. It's really good for anyone that has that natural frizz. And curly hair does have natural frizz within the hair. And this is going to help to lock in the moisture and smoothen that out. Okay, so we're going to use the curl foam for this. When you're using this product, very important that you really, really shake the can. It's consistency. I'll show you the consistency, but it's really thick. You'd never think with a foam to me always, oh, it's light, but it's actually really thick. So a little does go a long way. Again, when I'm using this, you can see I've sectioned Jill's hair again. I'm going to use that much at the back. Doesn't seem like a lot, but this product goes a long way. Okay, work it through my hands. You can really see the consistency of the product is actually quite thick. And then I'm going to work that through Jill's hair. Again, I'm not pulling, I'm not dragging on the curl. I really want that curl to go in to its natural fall. It smells so good. What I like about this foam as well, it nearly creates like a cask, yeah? And it's really important for curly hair that when you are doing that, that it does create the cask, because you want that moisture to be locked into the hair. You don't want the hair to be flying all over the place when you're blow drying it. You can see for this one, I'm taking kind of smaller sections because I really want to work that product through the hair. Again, this is how much I'm using for the next section. What I like about this as well is even though it's a foam product, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be heavy, it's going to weigh my hair down. It doesn't. If anything, it's a very light formula and it's very easy to move out throughout the hair. Yeah, so it's very easy to spread throughout the hair. Again, you can see I'm not pulling. I'll move you around here. Yeah, I'm not pulling, I'm literally working with Jill's own natural fall. So every product that I've used on Jill's hair today, every product is designed to use specifically for her hair because I want to lock moisture back into her hair. Okay. Now, I've done the back section. I'm now going to move on to the sides and the front. But can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear. You want to hear that squelch. Yeah. You want to know that that product is being evenly distributed throughout the hair. But you really have to, with curly hair, especially if you're really trying to change the shape or move it into its natural flow, or even just to create more softness, you need to layer that into your hair. Okay. And you really want to hear that. Now, what I'm going to do now is diffuse Jill's hair. Okay. So you can see now, you can really see that shape start to take place for her. Does it feel light?
Yeah.
And you still have length. Yeah. It's a big thing for curly hair people. So the best way, final step, to fuse the hair is to literally use medium heat, medium strength. If you were to use too hot or the power on the hairdryer was too much, you create more frizz throughout the hair. So I'm going to set up the diffuser now for you, all right? Really important is not to touch the hair too much when you are blow drying. There's all different types of diffusers out there. I like the ones that literally cover the hair. You know, they're not too flat. You can even see with these ones here, there's a good few air gaps throughout it, because if it's too compact, too intense, you're going to create frizz throughout the hair. Okay. For any kinds, what I tell them to do first is literally turn around and then slide into the hair. So they're going to slide over, yeah? So she'll probably go missing here for a while. So tip your head over. Just your head, yeah. Head back. what I tend to do with my clients is I like to move them around a lot when I'm drying their hair. Because I think if you're too stagnant in one area, what ends up happening is you end up over drying certain areas. When it comes to curly hair as well, I like to only dry it 80-90% and leave the rest of it to dry naturally on its own. That way then there's less tension in the hair, there's less heat in the hair, and you'll find what happens is it's this natural fall will really show into place. Next step, head back. So I'm going to slide down into her. What you find as well is when you take a lot of their weight out, their hair dries faster, which they love. As I said before, every curly hair is completely different. The cut that I did on Jill today is a structured cut, but for every client that comes through your door, you need to have a consultation. You need to get them to wash their hair literally the day before, leave it lie in its natural fall, bring them in and then have a good consultation with them and see exactly where the density is, see exactly what part of the hair you need to take the weight out of. I knew today when I saw Jill's hair, it was this crown area. This is where it needed more movement. So halfway through, I just added a bit more oil just to really soften that hair. You can see, even though we put the foam on, it's still light. There's no cast on that, yeah? So now Jill's gonna disappear again. So head over again for me. Hey, flip. Woo! That's what you want. So what I like to do is literally dry it 80%, and then actually look at the haircut when it's done. Like, va-va-voom. So you can see it's still quite damp in areas, but my main thing now is to check the haircut and see which way it's flowing. Even though I've disconnected from that crown area here, when I turn Jill's head to the side, it's still blending in perfectly, yeah? Even though this is completely disconnected, but what we've done by taking just those little bits off, we've brought that volume back into the hair, yeah? You can see there's more definition within the curl. By twisting on those areas here, there's movement in the hair. The curl has somewhere to go. It's not being pressured by surrounding hair. It actually has movement and it has shape and it can move in places, okay? Same on the other side. We disconnect it again and you can see that curl pattern now. You can see it really has somewhere to go. Took nothing really off your length. She's very happy with me for that. But you can see, even though we've taken nothing really off the length, your hair is strong battle into shape, yeah? Even when I move you all the way around, you can really see that volume throughout her hair. Beautiful. Now, this is not 100% dry, because I find sometimes if you over dry curly hair, you're going to create more frizz again. What do we think?
Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's like
so much more light. Yeah.
there's a lot more bounce.
Yeah.
I love that we have put more shape into the front of your hair. You can really, it's really opened up your eyes, really opened up that area of your face as well.
Yeah.
As I said, this is not 100% dry. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through the 11 steps on what we did today. First thing, main thing, most important thing, consultation, okay? Consultation is key. Again, I always say to people, come in with your hair washed from the day before. That way then we can see exactly what way your hair is sitting. And again, I did this haircut specifically for Jill's hair today because I knew in what areas the weight, the density needs to be changed. Step one, prep. I prepped it with your deep clean shampoo. It's got the citrus in it, and that's designed, the orange oil is designed to take out any impurities, any build up within the hair. Curl shampoo, number one favorite. Again, with this, it's got your beautiful hyaluronic acid. It's got your ceramide. It's got your niacinamide. Again, with this, it's designed to lock that moisture into the hair. It's also really good for the hair follicle because it actually helps it to breathe and it actually helps the hair to grow as well. Followed then with the conditioner, again, to lock everything in with the coconut oil. That was step one. Step two, sectioning. Sectioning is very important because it's very easy, especially with any haircut. If you don't do the right sectioning at the start, you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost in what you're doing throughout the hair. Towel dry the hair, and I actually prepped it with my favorite, the Miracle. This is my cutting tool. This is my primer I use on every single hair cut or every single hair that I do. To me, it's got the 11 benefits, but to me, when you're cutting, it actually helps to hold the hair in place, especially curly hair, because it can get quite frizzy as you're moving all the time with the comb. Step 3, section. Separating the fringe, the sides, the diamond section on top, and leaving the back out, because I wanted that back to keep the length and keep the flow. I'm going to actually show you the back in a minute. It's stunning. Step 4, I'm going to use my scissors. So my guide, I always have a guide every time I'm cutting hair. My guide for Jill's hair, I saw that her hair actually sectioned naturally within here. So I knew if I took that too short, she would have created more of a bounce up here. She would kill me. If I created that too short. So what I did, my guide was in the middle and it was below the nose. Yeah. So I knew that would bounce up. But you can see it's really opened up her eye area. Yeah. It's really kind of emphasized your eyes, really showing off the color of your eyes as well, because the focus is on your fringe. After that, once you've done the fringe to the desire that you needed, the tension is very important. Always use the wide tooth part of your comb. And again, not too much tension. If you put too much tension on curly hair, you're not going to get the natural flow of the curl. Step 5. Step 5, then we layered around the sides, but we actually blended it from the nose down, because all we wanted to do, because this is the part of our hair where it was more of a softer wave compared to the density of the curl on top, okay? What we done here is we take a little bit off, just to try and soften that hair off, just try and really kind of blend that in with the sides. You see it's really starting to come out. It's gorgeous, yeah? Step 6. Step 6 is your diamond section on top. With the diamond section on top, I actually worked from the middle, working my way outwards, but keep coming back into the middle, okay? That way then I'm still creating a round shape. I'm still creating a movement within her hair without having it too disconnected, okay? When you're working with the diamond section, it's straight up and then out at the back. So you're creating more of a round shape throughout the head. Step 7, hair is dense on this part of the hair. Even though I cut it in a diamond shape, I still wanted to create more movement throughout the crown area. This is where I did a twist and cut. Twist and cut, very important when you're doing this. Do not close the scissors or there will be no hair left. And I worked literally from the middle part of this, yeah? So literally little tiny cuts throughout there. Step 8, again with this, I released the back section and I just blended that through. Again, I brought everything going back right into the middle of the back of the head. And what that does is create nearly like a little shaped back, so you're not having this blunt cut. Because what happens with curly hair, if it's too blunt, it just looks heavy. Yeah, you really want that to flow. Step 9, comb hair down, and I literally took off any little bits around this area here just to kind of blend that in more. Step 10, this is where we resaturate it, and this is a very important part of it. You need to resaturate the hair before you apply the product. If I was to apply the product straight onto her hair after I was combing and moving the hair, it's just going to come out frizzy. Yeah, you can see by me resaturating and really kind of, it's like a squelching noise you really want to hear in that hair, and that actually helps to move the product into the hair. Okay, step 11, I use the elixir. I swear this is my favorite product along with everything else, but I think with this it's beautiful for curly hair. The reason being is that argan oil is beautiful for curly hair because it actually helps to lock the moisture in. Not only does it lock the moisture in, but it actually prevents frizz. Especially if I've just done a cut like this, you don't want the hair to go away frizz. You really want to lock that shine in, okay? Follow them with the curl foam. It's anti-humidity in this, and this is going to create the softness. Look at the shine. The shine is so good in the hair. And then you're going to diffuse, and then medium heat, medium pressure. Again, this is not completely dry, but you can really see she's got that movement back in her hair. I'm just going to show you the back. You can see the back, but you can see it's really starting to move in the hair now. Yeah, and turn you around. Beautiful. So what I always say to clients, dry it 90%, leave that less part of the hair to dry on its own, because then it actually moves itself into its own shape. I hope you enjoyed today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see all our other amazing brand artists and some of the work that they have brought through as well. There's loads of videos here for you to watch, and I can't wait to see you for the next one. Thank you for watching.
The luxury of self-destruction to be self-aware.